Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to this episode of Healing Your Codependency. I'm Marshall Bircher, and I am your guide in discovering freedom, peace, and joy after codependency. I keep changing that tagline up because, why not? Okay, today we're going to be jumping into the topic of restoring sanity. It's because our previous Essentials episode, we talked about fantasy, how it's driving codependency, why we do it. And now we got to do the big step, the big courageous step of connecting with reality to understand what's real and to start taking into account that reality, what's trying to teach us, what's trying to show us so that we can succeed. So before we get to that, I need to share this out really quick to the community. Community is where you can find additional tools, guidance, and support in your healing from codependency. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. And if you're watching via YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening via podcast, either on Google, Spotify, Apple, or anywhere else you get podcasts, come to healyourcodependency.com. The community is on that front page. Come join us. So I'm going to get that shared out right now. Let me know. Say hi in the comments below. Let me know how you guys are doing. Got a lot going on. As a reminder, the Essentials course is open for enrollment. So come and join us. It's my 8-week course in helping you master the 8 essential factors you need to find freedom and peace from codependency. And did it do its job? I hope so. All right. So have you struggled to know what is real? Have you struggled to grasp what is really happening? Do you feel flooded, foggy, confused when things are going on? Do you feel like this internal sense of doubt of like, I don't know if I can count on myself? I don't know if I'm seeing everything correctly? Did you grow up being questioned about your feelings, about your perception of events? Having your memory recall questioned or doubted? Were you gaslit? Because if you were inundated by doubt. Doubt is not something we are born with. Doubt is something that is introduced into our reality by other people in order to get control, in order to get an advantage over us. Because what happens here is doubt is essential to all abusive, oppressive systems. Because if they can cause the person to doubt their reality, their take on their own lived experience, doubt the validity of their emotions, and then doubt the validity of their own inherent worth, they have control of that individual. Because what happens is the individual's brain starts to seek reality outside of itself. It starts to externalize or outsource reality making to people, places, and things outside of itself. And if we're in an abusive dynamic, this is going to be outsourced towards the abuser, towards the person that's harming us, because the fawning response is going to compel us to draw closer to that individual in order to try to, one, understand them, regulate them, and then hopefully change them so that we can have more sanity in our world. So then no wonder this is going on, because essentially when we are born trusting ourselves. We trust our senses, we trust our impulses, we trust our grasp on reality. And then we look towards our parents and towards our environment and our peers for more information about it, to more fully understand and grasp that reality. But when that environment is toxic or unsafe or unhealthy, we then are taught to doubt in those areas of our own perception, our own reality, our own feelings, and our own worth. And that opens us up to further harm. So how do we start to know what is real? How do we actually begin to trust that we can discern reality for ourselves and then make effective choices, take effective action based on the information we have there? Well, that first starts in my work. It always starts with acknowledging the reality and legitimacy of our lived experience and our emotions and our senses. And we can start accessing that again and going, hey, what I feel is real and valid. It may not be complete to the situation, but it's still important. It's still legitimate. And this is crucial because in healthy relationship dynamics, it's not about right and wrong. It's about comprehension, understanding, and care for each other's lived experience towards things we're feeling in response to the impacts that are happening to us by choices and actions people are making towards us, and then we're making towards them and towards ourselves. We start there. The legitimacy of emotion, the legitimacy of lived reality, your lived experience, and the legitimacy of your sensations or your senses. Once we have this in place, then we can start to understand material reality. What is really going on out here? And there are 3 specific patterns that we have to detect, and then we have to understand and trust in order to know what is real. Because there's one thing we all tend to do, and that is we tend to believe what we're told and ignore what we see. I'll say that again. We tend to believe what we're told and ignore what we see, especially in codependent dynamics, because what's going on here is we want to believe the words because they confirm and affirm the codependent fantasy that we have operating, right? That keeps us in the sense of congruency or sanity with like, okay, they tell me they love me, they tell me they like me, they tell me they want me, so that resonates with my fantasy. We're going to keep going that way. And then we ignore reality. And what we do with reality is we do 2 things. One, we take the positive anomalies, these moments where they treat us really kindly, really lovingly, and we expand them really, really big in our awareness. And we add a lot of significance to it, and we try to keep it close and keep it alive. The fantasy magnifies these anomalies. And then the other thing we do is we take all the patterns, pain and neglect and harm and all of that, and we make them really small. We make them very not a big deal, just a bad day. That's not who they really are. It's their trauma talking. I can heal them. I can fix them. So we make these really significant, painful impacts really small and really insignificant to ourselves so that we can play in fantasy land. So when we move into reality making, especially in the codependency healing system or the essential codependency healing trainings, this is the big blunt cake of these courses. We move into reality making. What we're doing here is we're actually starting to acknowledge that, hey, I have this big euphoria going on. I have this big maximization on these positive anomalies. I am doing this. Why am I doing this? Oh, I'm doing this because there is a counter reality I'm trying to ignore. What's the counter reality? The pain. The pain we perpetually experience because of the way we are being treated in the relationship. See, the pain tells the truth of what we're living through. The pain does not signal that there's something wrong with us, that we're not trying hard enough, that we have to be better, that we've got to work out our trauma. If we can look at our pain and then we can identify a pattern of behavior that correlates with experiencing this pain, we have discovered reality. And this is key here. There are 3 patterns we have to identify, acknowledge, and trust to find reality. The first pattern is the pattern of behaviors that are going on. How are they behaving? How am I behaving? What is the predictability in this? That's what we're looking for. If I can predict someone's pattern of behavior accurately most of the time, I know the person and I know what I'm going to get. The second pattern we're looking for is patterns of impact. Emotional impact, physical impact, financial impact, psychological impact, the self-worth impact, the intimacy impact. These impacts tell us what we're experiencing and how this is affecting our personal reality, our personal well-being, our personal happiness. These impacts either need to be adding to and nurturing these things for them to stick around, but most of the time, they're taking away from them. They're harming us. They're leading us towards more self-doubt, towards shame, towards loathing, towards trying to please and appease, trying to be perfect, trying to earn love, earn worth. These are impacts that are very serious because they tell us about the pattern of behaviors that are going on, and this is helping us see reality. And the last pattern we have to look at are the long-term results we live with because of that pattern of behavior and pattern of impact? Has it harmed my sense of well-being? Has it harmed my health? Has it harmed my physical reality? Has it harmed my relationships, my finances? Has it harmed how I see myself? Or has it added to these things and nurtured them and cared for them and expanded them? If the relationships we're in are taking away from our well-being and happiness, they are unhealthy for us. If they are adding to and supporting them in a predictable, loving, and caring way, they're healthy for us. So to know reality, we have to be willing to acknowledge the pattern of behavior we are witnessing from others and ourselves, the impacts that these patterns are creating, and the long-term results we're living with because of those impacts and those patterns of behavior. This is blunt. This is also our source of freedom and peace. This is where we are able to move into what I call congruence with power. In other words, we're able to start making choices and actions that lead us farther and farther away from harm and more into well-being and happiness. But to do that, we have to be willing to acknowledge that we have a fantasy, we are denying reality, we have euphoria that we're chasing, we're maximizing these positive anomalies, minimizing the harm and hurt we're experiencing, and then we have to acknowledge the pattern of behavior, impact, and results that are actually happening in our world. This empowers us to make better decisions for ourselves. It helps us know what to say yes to and what to say no to. It helps us know what is compatible. It helps us know what is really nurturing us and what is not. And these three patterns apply to how we treat ourselves. They apply to how we treat others and how they treat us. This is one of the most challenging and liberating aspects of the work, is to come into contact with reality and then allow reality to guide you back to well-being and happiness. Because reality isn't going to condemn you. Reality doesn't have any need for condemnation. It witnesses us and it says, okay, this is what's going on, and here's some pain to help you wake up to this is not congruent with your well-being and happiness. It's not congruent with your innate value and who you are. It wants us to wake up. And that says pain becomes your guide in this work. Because pain, especially shame, feeling insecure, feeling unvalued, unseen, being put down, feeling used, resentment, all of that, these are strong core signals that the relationship is dysfunctional. And there is a great need to slow down and start observing what the pattern of behavior, impact, and results is going on. Whether or not that aligns with what we want, what we value. So this is one of the deepest, most challenging, and yet essential and liberating components of the work, is to start acknowledging what is real. Because you can know what is real, and then you can build trust in your own senses, the validity of your own reality, your own lived experience, and your emotions to help you inform yourself about what these patterns are doing to you in your world, so you can make choices that lead you towards patterns of behavior, impacts, and results that produce more well-being, more happiness for you. So if you want assistance in making this happen in your world, you want guidance, and you want a community and shelter that will assist you in building this, accessing this, and navigating it, we can start with the Essential Codependency Healing Trainings. This is my 8-week introductory course to my work that gets you the 8 essential concepts and practices that help you discover and experience freedom from your codependency. It does this by helping you understand what the origin of codependency really is, and then soothing that cause, that origin. Helps you master nervous system regulation, emotional regulation, helps you grasp, access, and understand both your fantasies and reality. Helps you tap into and start the discovery practice of your innate value and your real worth. We help you, train you on how to identify safe people using what's called the 8 relationship bare minimums. And I assist you in starting the process of cultivating self-trust in who you are and in your lived reality and your senses. That's what we do. We're starting May 14th. It's 8 weeks long. It's taught on Sundays at 12 p.m. live. You get lifetime access to the recordings of the live classes, as well as lifetime access to the current live classes and any future live classes that I teach, because the next time this will be taught will be in September and then in January of 2024 and so on and so forth. So come join us. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. If you're listening via podcast, it's at my website at healyourcodependency.com. Jump in and let's help you discover for yourself more self-trust, more emotional peace, more clarity, more reality, and a little more freedom from that codependency. So my friends, let me know your thoughts on today's video. Let me know what patterns of behavior, impact, and results you might be noticing in your world and what those mean for you, what you're going to do with those. And if you got questions or you need support, just reach out. Go gently, my friends, and I will see you in our next episode. Bye-bye.